Okay, so this is Shaman Dr. Fryson here with you, and let's look at astronumerology using the Fryson method and why relationships don't work when people think they should work. Today we're going to look at Megan the Stallion and Klay Thompson. This picture was from complex.com. I think this is an ideal picture because you can kind of see the way he's glancing off and she's looking straight ahead. That actually says a lot about their relationship. So, why didn't it work? What made it a challenge for them when on paper most people looked at it and thought it was good? So here's the breakdown of the things that I look at. One, let's get into the life path. The most important numbers for me: attitude, life path, soul number, and of course the mode number. And then the rising sign is incredibly important. Birthday is important as well, but the things that I haven't read are the things that are incompatible. And it's very difficult to overcome those. And in a couple of slides, I'm going to show you other areas that look really compatible. So most people would think things are, should work, but this is why it doesn't. First, life path for her is a 5, life path for him is a 2. Definitely different directions. The 5 is ruled by Leo in the astrology, that's the sun. All eyes on her, energy on her. He is second string, so to speak, because he is the second character. He's not the main character. He's always in conjunction with someone. But he's an 11-2 life path, which means on a higher note, that's teaching and providing lessons. And unfortunately, a relationship with him definitely does provide a lesson. Now, there's some good things about the two, true, but the difference between the 5 and the 2 is 3. And 3 means a lot of communication has to occur, a lot of honesty has to occur, and a lot of joy has to occur. The 5 loves traveling, doing things, having fun, being free. The 2 is more of a partnership, behind the scenes kind of energy. So that it doesn't work in the long run. Life path 5 and 2 are not good. They are challenge numbers for each other. Attitude number 8 and 1. This is a neutral number for them, although in traditional numerology, the 8 and 1 gets along. In the Fryson method, they don't, because that's 7 degrees of separation. And most people cannot overcome the 7 energies in between the 8 and 1 in order to get along. So that's how they speak to each other, right? Megan comes across as the power, the sexy Scorpio type energy. People might look at her as good in bed kind of energy, all about having sex, but she's truly about her coins and her money. That's the attitude that she gives off that most people think, right? She's all about that. And Klay comes off as a 1. He's independent. He's in his own world. It's about him. He's, into himself, but also as a leader, someone that people can look up to. On paper, that looks good if you're in a business with that person. Two people in a business together would go well. However, the the 7 degrees of separation, the 7 is the hermit, somebody who needs their space, needs time to themselves, and 7 also has some secret energies. So there's some secrets that can be between those two people, and in this case, according to what she put out, there were some secrets of secret affairs, right? So the 7 is a number that's also associated with lots of affairs, lots of marriages, and that is Elizabeth Taylor, um, Marilyn Monroe. Those people had lots of Princess Diana. Those people had different 7s in their chart in different areas, and that 7 is other affairs. The next number they have is 6 and 8, which is compatible numbers, and that's their birthday number. So that's why on one side they have an attraction. But notice the 6. The 6 for Megan is about family. Family is incredibly important to her. I did do some reading to see how she lost the family that she had pretty much. And, Klay obviously has a family, and I'm sure she was attracted to that. Maybe more than she was attracted to the relationship with him as an individual, she was attracted to the family. And for his birthday is 8, about making money, about being in power, in a position of power. And sometimes that can be a kind of a not so good thing when someone wants power, because the 8 is also the sexual energy, right? But because he does have some ones in his chart and some Pisces energy somewhere in his chart, that shows up in a sense of being able to keep a secret. Okay. So especially like you won't know how much money he has because he's not going to flaunt it. You won't see it in his clothes necessarily, but he has some secret money, some secret powerful things. I wouldn't be surprised if he has some investments that, make him a lot of money that people just are shocked by. Now, their sun signs in Western astrology are Aquarius. And the thing, Aquarius, most people say to Aquarius, that's good. Again, the Fryson method, I do not believe in two signs being together because it's too much of looking in the mirror. And most people don't like themselves. So therefore, they're not going to like the partner. Everything that they find wrong with themselves and they see it in the partner, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't like this about you," and they literally are both born in February, and of course that's in the Aquarius energy. In Vedic astrology, which is what I use, Vedic astrology, she is an Aquarius and he is a Capricorn, both ruled by Saturn. Again, not my ideal pairing. Too much of the Saturn rulership that doesn't balance well. Saturn likes Venus. Saturn doesn't. Saturn is a grumpy old man. What does he want to be a grumpy old man for? The grumpy old man likes a young, beautiful woman, right? So that energy doesn't go well. But the thing is Capricorn is definitely a hard worker. They're focused, they're dedicated, and Aquarius is the innovator. They come up with new ideas, new ways to do things, and they're quirky and different, and people love or hate them for that. Now, their Venus signs, both in Sagittarius, moon sign, Leo, and Cancer, which is compatible, but his Cancer has K2 with it, which means secrets. So, again, there you go with the secret things going on. The sun rules Leo, the moon, of course, rules Cancer. Normally, that's the ideal pairing, but the sun is not going to like for his wife to have other partners, and that is in his chart. Maturity, that's good. Now, here's another number that's incredibly important. The soul number is 4 and 3, which is incompatible. Somebody has to be in charge and somebody has to lead the relationship in a certain direction. Megan is at her core, her whole part of herself. She's all about home. She wants a home life. She wants a family life. Klay, at his heart, he wants to travel, make money, and enjoy life, right? That's at his core. The mode number for them is a 5 for her and a 2 for him, just like their life path. And again, that doesn't work. Now, within their charts, you have to note that in Klay's chart, he has a lot of the 1 and 5 energy. And the 1 energy is about the self, and the 5 energy is about business and travel and having fun. But that's the energy that I call the sex, drug, and rock and roll, freedom, doing whatever I want. So, propensity towards being with a lot of different people. The fifth house is seen as short-term flings and affairs, which means he's not necessarily a monogamous person. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. Megan in her chart, where she has the 5, she has a lot of fours, eights, and nines. So she has a different perspective. She knows how to be in a relationship and be committed to a person because that is her desire to make a home and to build her money, her bag, her coins, right? And she has a focus on the world. She's a humanitarian at heart. Not that she's not a person who wouldn't cheat on someone, but she does because she enjoys sex, but she enjoys sex at home. Klay enjoys sex with other people, and so that's not really any slight on them. That's just the energies associated with them. Now, with their personal years, most of people would think that they should get along because the numbers are compatible, except for 2023. The 7 and 9 is not compatible. However, 2026, there's 7 degrees of separation. And of course, with the Fryson method, that's when revelation about secrets, it is not a good year for them. the 2026 is one of those years that if they were able to get past the 2026 and reconcile, then the rest of the years would be good for them until later. They'll have that another cycle again. His personality is such with those numbers, he would cheat again or do something to break trust again, which, that could be with money. There's lots of ways to break trust other than with another person. But until he gets that part of himself under control, it will cycle back around in his life, and that will be a problem. And then their personal months all are compatible except for July through September. So they have like four great, fabulous months. And then July, that's 7 and 2, August and September each have 7 degrees of separation. So revelations about things and money and things that might not be appealing come up. So this is why if they would have come to me in the beginning, I would have said this is a no on a relationship. um, for me, the numbers, the amount of compatibility or neutrals that you need to have just don't add up in the beginning part of their chart. So I would not put them together at all. Okay. I hope this helped you guys with understanding a little bit more about relationships. Take care.